Ahaya Basham Yashe Warak, Shabbat Shalom Barakatah, Kwam Yasharal. Blessings unto you. Rise, O Israel. Rise, O Israel. Welcome to World War III. Today's discussion will be on Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 26. And let's read that real quick. Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 26. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing and a curse. Now today, folks, we're going to prove that the blessing and a curse that Moses is offering the children of Israel is found in the New Testament as the gospel. The blessing and the curse is the gospel, the good news to the first century Jews found in the New Testament. We're going to prove that today because, again, Indigenous Hebrew Israelite Awakening is not a racist hate group. We simply live here. Now, let's get started. So, the blessings and the curse. The blessings is obeying the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. Not only that, because Christ, the Messiah of the true Hebrews said that he came to teach the law and the prophets. And so the law and the prophets is maintaining what the law said, the law of Moses, and the prophets, the prophecies of the prophets. And you're going to find that this book has specific laws that the Most High and the angels, the Most High being described as a woolly-haired, dark-skinned man, and the angels also being described as dark-skinned beings, they're also described as men in there, and they're telling these children of Israel to obey these blessings and these curses, the laws and the prophets. And if they don't obey the actual word that's coming out of the direct mouth of these angelic beings, or as coming from the Most High, then they're going to suffer the curses. So again, and this treaty has nothing to do with no other nation but the children of Israel. So again, the curse of the law and the gospel. Again, in Genesis 15:13, and he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Moving along, Jeremiah. Now, some Hebrew camps, they say, okay, well, where is Gad? We don't see the tribe of Gad in the book of Revelation, or we don't see the tribe of Gad in, on your, on their, I guess the tribal identification rosters that they have now. So in Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 1, it says, concerning the Ammonites, thus saith the Lord, hath Israel no sons? Hath he no heir? Why then doth their king inherit Gad? The Ammonites inherit Gad. Now some angry camps out there, some Hebrew Israelite camps out there will say that the Ammonites and the Moabites are the East Asians. And if you look at the Chinese, the original root Chinese characters, their Chinese alphabet, it's all biblical, folks. The Chinese alphabet comes from a biblical connotation. You'll see words that they say that, the Garden of Eden is, in heaven, and all these different words. They're showing you that they are going back to Babylon and Israel. Northeast Africa, I want to say. But back to Jeremiah 49, verse 1, again, those Gadites The tribe of Gad was inherited by the East Asians. And based upon our understanding, we had the Chinese people come into the Americas by ships and boats. And then you had the Africans come into the Americas by ships and boats. And this is long before the colonialism. So when the Bible is talking about the Ammonites inheriting the tribe of Gad, you have the Gadites scattered across the world in this manner. Hint, 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 hint. You have the Gadites scattered across the world in this manner. In the book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 7, and again, these verses are coming out of the King James public domain. Keeping mercies for the 1,000, forgiving iniquity and the transgression and sin that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the third and fourth generations. So when these people scattered themselves first, because you go to book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68, the saying goes that they were sent by slave ships, which is another true fact in Hebrewisms. But here the children of Israel scattered themselves and they thought that they probably can escape the generational curse of their forefathers. Well, if God says that you're going to suffer from the generational curses of your forefathers, then you're going to suffer the generational curses of your forefathers. With that being said, you can see that there were Negro people in Australia, New Zealand, the Pacific Islands, Tahiti, all these Fiji, all these different islands. You see Negroic people in these islands in the Pacific. You see the Negro people in the Atlantic Ocean. So, what I want to say is that before colonialism and before their indoctrination and their philosophy, people scattered themselves long and had their own cultures long before European discovery. So we need to stop paying attention to this Bering Strait theory that they walked or whatever. We should listen to what they say of themselves, is what I want to say. In the book of Numbers, chapter 14, 17 through 19. Now listen clear. And now I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according to as thou hast spoken, saying, the power of my Lord. The Lord is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Again, it's saying it again. It said it in the book of Exodus, saying it in the book of Numbers. The Lord is long-suffering, great of mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty. So if these people scatter themselves and trying to get away from this generational curse, think again. Verse 19, pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people according to the greatness of thy mercy. He had a covenant with these people, as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt until now. Now he had a covenant with these woolly-haired, dark-skinned people. Woolly-haired, dark-skinned people who have scattered themselves across the globe. Now, to seal this, now as you know, here at Indigenous Hebrew Israelite Awakening, we have already established that the books of the Romans, the books to the Ephesians, the books to the Colossians, the books to these separate groups that the apostles sent their word to, this good news. They are sending these documents to Hebrews, to Israelites in those lands. One more time. The first century Christians, as such to call the original Jews, the original Hebrews at that time, they were sending these letters, the letters of Paul, the apostles. They were sending these letters to actual Hebrew Israelites in different foreign lands. They're not sending these letters to people who do not know the laws, the blessings and the curses of Moses, because Moses gave them blessing and curses. So they're sending these good news letters to the people who are actually Hebrew Israelites. And to confirm that, go to Romans chapter 9, where the Apostle Paul, he clearly says that these promises are to Israelites. So one more time, so that you guys are clear, these letters are going out to Hebrews that are scattered in these different lands: Colossae, Philippi, Rome. Now here in the book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 13, and he's talking to these Hebrews: and you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven all your trespasses. He's telling these people in Colossae, these Hebrews, these Hebrew Israelites in Colossae, that you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your heart, because they have lost the knowledge of the blessings and curses placed upon them by the law of Moses. They have lost that. They have lived in some different land, just like the Negro Indians scattered across the earth. They have lost their identity. What this good news is doing is telling them who they are. In the book of Galatians, chapter 3, we're going to keep going. In the book of Galatians, chapter 3, verse 13, Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law. What is the good news, folks? The good news is the Messiah who told the people of the book, I come not but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the lost Israelites. Paul said the promises are for the Israelites in the book of Romans chapter 9. Christ said he came not, meaning he did not come to this planet, but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right here in the book of Galatians, this letter that's going to the Galatians who are Israelites in the land of Galatia. This letter of the Galatians is going to the Israelites in the land of Galatia. And Paul is telling them, Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law. So, being made a curse for us, for it is written, curse is everyone that hangeth on a tree. Unquote. I could stop right there. But I need to let y'all know that in Acts chapter 7, verse 6, God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land. This is what they telling us. Christianity has done a grave damage to your mind. Mohammedanism has done a grave damage to your mind. They have taken your laws. The Mohammedan faith has said, well, the Jews have done wrong, so we have this revealing, we have this new thought process. It doesn't belong to them. Christianity have said the gospel is to spread this good news to all the planet. They are wrong. The Ashkenazi, German, European Jews, they don't even look at the Bible. They look at their Talmud. And even there's the curse of the law. They don't even address the curse of the laws. But you Afro-Asiatic Negroes have been suffering this curse of the law this whole time. The Arabs cleared out Negro land Africa, which is Negro de Guinea. They cleared out Negro land. And that Negro land, you have historians saying, hey, y'all went over there. Your people went over there. And where'd they go? Negros de la Tierra, Turtle Island of the Americas. And when you get to Turtle Island of the Americas and look at the ancients, and where do they say they came from? Hey, we came from Negro de Guinea. I'm going to stop right there. I am a Hebrew Israelite. I'm also a conscientious objector and administrator of peace. Indigenous Hebrew Israelite out.